We had a lot of fun on this one, didn't we, Mark?
Yeah, it's a special place down there.
Just the sacrifices you make for your art, having to take multiple trips to Mexico City, to beautiful, sunny Mexico City. Hey everyone, it's David Stark from Watch Your Pass. Today I'm talking to Mark Ciardi and Campbell McInnes of A Million Miles Away, which is coming to Amazon Prime Video on September 15, 2023. I'm going to talk to them right now, and while you're watching, if you can like and subscribe to this channel, that would be fantastic. I'll spend a lot. Thank you. So, thanks so much for joining me. Today I've got Mark Ciardi and Campbell McInnes, the producers of A Million Miles Away, which is coming to Amazon Prime Video on September 15, 2023. It is an amazing true story about someone kind of pursuing their dreams and how out of this world those dreams become. It is just a really great heartfelt movie, and it's coming to Amazon Prime Video, so you can enjoy it in the comfort of your own homes. I'm really excited to talk to you about it, so thanks so much for joining me.
Hey, thank you, David.
Yeah, great to be here.
Of course. So first question, always wondering, like, how did you get involved in this movie? Like, how did this kind of come across your desks? And I guess we'll start with Mark, since you're kind of closest or highest on my video. So
because I have the poster behind me. That's why.
That's good too.
No, about 4 years ago, Jose walked into our office, and he was with Rick and Benito, our other producers, and they were looking to partner with someone in Hollywood, and they looked at the movies that we had done, and they came in, and we fell in love with the story. It was simple as that. It was just an incredible story of perseverance and never giving up. And the title is apt because that's how far his dream was away as well as the stars. A million miles away. That's how far this dream was from the fields to space.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And Campbell, it sounds like you and Mark had worked together before in the past. Sounds like this was kind of a normal pairing for you. Is that so? You were also there when Jose came in and told you the story?
I was. We had some agents reach out to us and kind of give us the top line. You need to meet José Hernández, and Jose came in, and not only is his story inspirational, but these little details that he shared about his life, details that actually, I remember looking at Mark and going, God, this needs to be in the movie. It's incredible. It's like you couldn't write this, if it was a fiction any better. And
didn't have to make anything up. That's for sure.
Yeah, really didn't. I mean, as an example, as when Jose got into, was actually, given his stripes, became an astronaut. He comes to the restaurant that his wife Adela owned, and he's telling us his story. And he's like, I come in with my blue suit, and the first thing she says to me is that the dishwasher didn't show up today. So here I am washing dishes, in a in the kitchen in my flight suit that I had just gotten that day, and Mark and I were like, oh, that's going to be in the movie, and you'll have to see it to see if it is, but I'll give you a hint. It is.
We work together at Select Films too, so we work together at Select Films.
Oh, okay, nice, perfect. Yeah, no, I loved that specific detail because it also really kind of helps with Jose's overall kind of character arc. Like when you see him, maybe if you do, washing dishes in his blue suit, you're like, okay, that like he is both, he has reached his dream, but then he's also kind of like still grounded, right? He's about to go to the stars, but he's still grounded. He still kind of like knows who got him here and like what is important. And so I love that scene. It was a very subtle touch. There's a lot of very subtle touches in this film that they don't necessarily like call it out. Like it doesn't like, scream something to you, but if you're paying attention, you can definitely get a lot more about the character and about what's going on. So it sounds like you hadn't heard Jose's story before this, before he kind of walked into your office. I don't think many people have, so it's not a surprise, but I was curious about that.
I wasn't really aware of the story, and then when we heard who we were meeting with, we did a deep dive, and we were kind of blown away before he walked in. So we were prepared, and then really some of the beats that he filled in, we just really felt like it was a movie. Biggest job as a producer is like, you might love a story, but is it a movie? We have to figure out structurally, does it work? There's a lot of factors that go into it. And, we just felt like it checked every single box.
Yeah, definitely. And I noticed in your background, Mark, but I assume it's also in your background, Campbell, that there's a lot of inspirational sports movies. And like, I'm a sucker for inspirational sports movies. I love it. Like this kind of felt like that same, it was cut from the same cloth, right? This had a similar kind of overcoming adversity, like perseverance, almost a game day kind of environment at the end. Was that something that, it sounds like that was probably something that appealed to both of you when you're reading the story?
Yeah, it's funny because it did have the structure of a sports story. It's the same beats and that same massive odds to overcome, but it's dealing with the mind and space, and that's what really appealed to us. I mean, I love sports stories. We've worked on several together, but like this one felt like it felt different. The same but much different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I think Mark and I kind of put our heads together during the pandemic and before, and we're like, how do we take these inspirational stories that everyone's hungry for, and open them up to an audience beyond sports? And that sort of became a mandate for the two of us. And this is really the first of hopefully many that it's bearing fruit now. So yeah, really excited about this movie. And you're right, it does. It's an underdog story. It's super satisfying, much like the movies that Mark did at Disney years ago, and the movies that I was fortunate enough to work with him on more recently. And yeah, we're really excited about kind of exploring that space. True stories that can appeal to a global audience.
Yeah, for sure. And also, kind of very timely right now, right? Like, Jose, like, kind of had to remember where he came from as he was trying to pursue his dream. There's always this kind of like sense of like trying to remember where you're from, trying to stay grounded, and like also you're having a very different background and trying to kind of break into I guess normal American life. Like all those themes were in here. They weren't like, again, they didn't like yell at you. Like they were just kind of like nicely placed in here to help make you think about all the things that he had to overcome, not just physically, not just mentally, but also kind of culturally, to try to rise and get to pursue his dream.
He had to find that cultural balance, right? There's moments when he kind of strays from that and wants to fit in, wants to be like everybody else, but that's kind of his superpower a little bit. And it's mentioned in the film, and you gotta, he was on an incredible quest. It's something that very few people even get the chance to do. And, as much as you want to be like the others, I think what his uniqueness and his culture was part of, why he was so amazing at what he did and why he didn't give up. When you get rejected 11 times, most people quit. You don't keep pursuing that dream. And that just shows you his tenacity to never give up. And I love that theme.
Yeah, no, I can't imagine getting rejected that many times and still kind of staying focused and staying driven. Like that is just, that is a drive that I don't think many people know.
And I think we made a really wonderful choice with Alejandra Márquez Abella as our director, because as a female voice, I remember just developing the project with her, and Adela was always a compelling character, but just in terms of bringing her more to the forefront. I mean, the movie almost becomes a two-hander with Jose and Adela, and it's really Adela's belief in Jose, I think, that really gives him that final, bit of inertia to really just push on through and realize the dream. And I think that's really important message. We want this movie to appeal to obviously the Latino audience. I think there's a lot of great cultural nods for them, but this is truly a general audience movie because these themes are so relatable, to everybody. The idea of tenacity, and we're just excited to be able to bring these voices to the forefront. To be working with such a talented filmmaker. And
yeah, for sure. For sure. And then kind of touching on the sacrifices Adela made, like when they were happening in the film, I was almost like this seems like a bad decision, right? Like she's giving up so much to try to, make her husband's dream a reality. It almost felt like this would backfire. Like it was kind of a very touching moment when that happened. And I like the kind of, you showed the level of sacrifice that she and her family, or their family, had to make to kind of help Jose and his dream as well.
Yeah, she was part of the story. She was everything to kind of, okay, let's figure out what you're not doing right, and let's do it together. And that teamwork really showed through. And like Campbell said, that development of a character, can be very secondary. And we tried to make it feel like a two-hander. Michael Peña was our only choice for this, for the role. And then, for the Adela role, we saw so many actresses, and you could see the chemistry with Rosa and Michael. And we knew right away. And I think everybody, all the cast were incredible in this, you know?
Yeah, for sure. So it sounds like you were very, very involved in kind of the planning and the buildup of this movie. Were you also involved day to day? I guess I'm not sure, you know, like where your roles were, like while this was filming. Like, did you get to spend time on set? Like, what was that like?
The set the whole time. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Every day. I mean, you know, we had to get Amazon comfortable with the idea of making this movie entirely in Mexico, you know, with you know, really talented department heads there, and we were on set it was just a beautiful partnership with all of the, you know, wonderful people that we were able to bring onto the project. And yeah, Mark and I are very hands-on, so we were there every day, and you know, all the way through post. You know, a lot of trips to Mexico City to you know, see cuts and, you know, get the music set, everything. So it was great. And yeah, we had a lot of fun on this one, didn't we, Mark?
Yeah, it's a special place down there.
Just the sacrifices you make for your art, having to take multiple trips to Mexico City, to beautiful sunny Mexico City. Thank you for.
We fell in love with the city. Yeah,
it was incredible.
The crew, and you know, just that level of pride. I think to have an all Mexican crew. They loved, you know, Jose's story, and I think just it brought that level of, you know, emotion to, you know, to every department, you know, and I think it just is something that Alejandra brought up, the idea of doing, and you know, the production department. I mean, everything that was made down there, from the Hilo Dunker scenes, like everything was fabricated and made down there with our production department. So incredible, because, you know, obviously it's a period piece in that it happened. He went up to space in 2009, and he was in NASA from 2003 to 2009. So you know, you can't go back and shoot, and NASA, everything changes. So we had to duplicate everything, and then working with NASA, they were incredible. They gave us so much great stock footage that we wove into the film, and you know, you're seeing the actual, you know, STS 128 and just everything leading up to it, and mixed in with our, you know, what we produced there.
That is incredible. Like that, I didn't realize that this was completely filmed in Mexico. Like that is an amazing accomplishment. Also, that had an entire Mexican crew. Like that also feels like a very kind of nice homage to what, you know, Jose kind of represented and what he did. Like that is a great kind of little, you know, asterisk for this movie. I love that.
That's great.
Yeah, he's got a huge, you know, presence in Mexico. He's down there a lot, and very, very well known. We did a screening down in Mexico City on Thursday, and he has a little cameo at the end. And when he comes on screen, the whole place erupted. So he's got a huge awareness, certainly in Mexico, and we want to educate the audiences here in the U.S. and around the world through Amazon Prime and our release on the 15th.
And filming in Mexico, the food must have been fantastic. That's like the biggest thing I miss from living on the West Coast is Mexican food. So
that's a step, you know, it's amazing.
So I know we have limited time. I'm going to switch to, I call it the lightning round. They're just lightweight questions about the film. I want to see how your personal experiences map to things in the movie. You can feel free to pass on any of them. I won't be offended, but I try to keep them very answerable. First question: have either of you ever wanted to be an astronaut?
Campbell, you go first.
You know, it wasn't something specifically that I wanted to do. I think as much as I did enjoy the sciences and math, you know, I feel like my my strengths kind of were more in the humanities. You know, English and anthropology were my majors in college. And
this is a lightning.
What's that?
It's a lightning round.
So the short answer is I never did.
Okay.
I never dreamed as boldly as Jose.
No, for me, I realized I wasn't smart enough. So
it's always good to kind of realize like the level of your dreams, right, at a young age. Going through some of the things that Jose did to prepare, let's see, have either of you ever gotten your pilot's license?
No.
Have not.
Scuba license?
I did.
I have, my girlfriend got me lessons during the pandemic to get my license, but I haven't done it yet. So on the list. On
your way, yeah. That's one of the steps. You're both kind of well on your way. And the last one, have you ran a marathon?
Absolutely not.
I've run a 10K, and I've watched my girlfriend run a triathlon or two. So I'm a better spectator when it comes to running.
It sounds like your girlfriend is a very good influence on you. You should make sure to hold on to her.
Yeah, you're right. She is. She is.
What is the hardest that either of you have ever worked on for something, like some sort of goal? What is the longest or hardest you've worked for?
God, every movie that you end up getting made is probably a story unto itself. It's such a long and tough road. You know, everybody's trying to make movies. There's so many things in development, and you know, it's a big investment from any studio. So just even getting a movie made is absolutely incredible. And you know, besides from pitching when I played, this is the most difficult thing and challenge that each movie, you know, presents.
Yeah, I would second that. I mean, the journey to getting a film made. I mean, it's hard enough to get it set up and you know, sold, and then you know that's where the real work begins. So yeah, you know, every movie, you know, this one was a joy once we got the green light, but it was a long slog to get there. So
definitely, that's a great answer. And the last question is: have either of you ever had to hide kind of where you came from? We talked about how Jose had to do that kind of in the beginning. Have either of you had to hide your background or where you came from?
You know, I mean, I'm Italian American, so I think probably there are moments where people would make fun of your last name or something like that. You always just wanted to fit in. But I think I think now more than ever, people are proud of where they're from. You know, it's you know, people definitely come together, and when they come to the United States, you know, there's that aspect, but there's also more pride in maybe where you came from. So I think everybody deals with something, you know, no matter how small or large, that they have to overcome growing up.
Yeah, I can relate to Jose's, you know, sort of the dynamism of his childhood, you know, constantly moving. You know, my father was in the military, but he had a job that, you know, had us moving, you know, sometimes yearly. Oh, wow. So I was always the new person, you know, sometimes trying to adapt to, you know, whatever the, you know, sort of the culture of this new town that I was living in. And, you know, it was, you know, kind of sometimes felt like I was impersonating myself in a way. And it wasn't until later that I kind of really found who I really am. So I could totally connect with that element of Jose's journey.
Definitely. And that just shows kind of how relatable this movie is. So thank you so much for both of your time. This is Mark Ciardi and Campbell McInnes, the producers of A Million Miles Away, which is coming to Amazon Prime Video on September 15, 2023. As you've heard, it is just a kind of amazing, unbelievable, out of this world true story about one person's dream and kind of the lengths that they will go to pursue it. So thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks, David.
That was Mark Ciardi and Campbell McInnes, the producers of A Million Miles Away, which is coming to Amazon Prime Video on September 15th, 2023. It is a heartfelt drama that looks at how far someone will go to live their dreams and also how out of this world those dreams can become. It is a really good movie. It has a great performance by Michael Peña, and it's coming to Amazon Prime Video, so you can check it out in the comfort of your own home. If you like this interview, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Thank you.